We have a very special guest in studio.
Well, it's Richard Szerman, the one, the only from Alta Realty.
That's me.
Buddy, how you doing?
Great, how are you?
I'm good. It's a little chilly. We had to crank up the heater in here. Is it okay for you?
It's fine.
It's awesome. Happy Friday to you. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're going to talk about something we've talked about before, but it always bears mentioning, called the Rental Rebate Program, where, to put it very simply, we literally give people money to buy houses. Simple as I can put it. So what we like to do is...
Wait a minute. Let's break this down a second here. You give people money...
To buy houses.
May I have some?
Certainly.
Is it that simple?
You have to come buy a house. It is. Well, basically the idea is and again, we've talked about this many times. I've been known for this for many years. There's a lot of excess in any real estate transaction. There really is. I mean, they're just... Nothing against anybody involved in real estate or anyone who's been doing it for a long time. There's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot if you have enough, I don't want to say clout, but if you set these things up where the buyers can pay a little bit less for this or the buyers can pay a little bit less for that. And so what we've done is we've sort of memorialized that. So to make it easier, what we do is we give buyers 10% of the rent they've previously paid back to go buy a house. So, and when you consider what rents have done in the Santa Clarita Valley here just in the last year, which is insane, they've gone up, depending on which index you look at, they've gone up anywhere from 15 to 17%. And to put that in real number terms, that means somebody who is renting at $2,000 a month in January of 2017, if it's going to go rent that same place now, is going to pay roughly $2,300 a month. And that's
so we're looking at a couple $100 in an increase. What
ridiculous.
Is the average, while we're talking about rentals, what is the average rental in this area in the Santa Clarita Valley for maybe what's everybody renting? A 2-bedroom, a 3-bedroom? What's the
3-bedroom, 2-bath houses is what we get the most call for, and you're $2,500 to $3,000 a month depending on where and what it is, which is again it's very, very high. So what happens is if you're paying that kind of rent, you can do the same thing and own a house, and then you get all the benefits that come with owning a house.
Of course,
you don't have to get into that. But so what we do is we make that path a little bit easier for people to get on. So we give them 10% of the rent they previously paid back to go buy a house, and it's real money. They can use it any way they want. It's credited
it is not
through
monopoly money.
No, it is not. It is not just a matter of moving stuff from column A to column B. It is money that, as long as it can be charged to escrow, they can have the benefit of. It is, as we say, real money. It's not smoke and mirrors.
You know what you are? You're like a genie.
Yeah,
you're like a genie. I rubbed the bottle. And here is Richard Szerman.
Well, we don't actually encourage clients to rub me or any of our staff, but I am happy to help them buy houses. There are actually some pretty strict rules about that we like to adhere to.
Richard, you are a crack up. So how do we go about doing that?
Simplest thing to do, we have it on the web as well, but the simplest thing, you can always get to our website through the station and that, but the simplest thing to do is just call me on my cell phone. I'm kind of crazy about it. I answer my cell phone all the time. I like what I do, so it's a lot of fun for me. I like when people call. I'm at 661-714-1400. You hear that number again? It's 661-714-1400, 714-1400, and that's been my cell number for 20-something years, so it's probably pretty easy to get a hold of. But I don't know of anybody else who does anything like this, but literally, if you're a renter, we can help you buy a house. We will give you money to help you buy a house. We do a volume of business, and that's just our way of making kind of giving back.
What made you get into this business of really, truly helping people get to the next level?
Frustration, mostly. And again, I don't want to disparage my fellow realtors, but I've been doing this for a very, very long time. We actually counted up. I got 27 years. I started just before my 19th birthday, all those many years ago. And I've been doing it, pretty well for a while, and I do a lot of it, and like I said, have for a long time. And I've seen some things, and I've seen a lot of the same problems manifest themselves over and over and over and over again. I'm sure it was the same when you bought your first house. First-time buyers especially, buyers in general, but first-time buyers especially, never seem to have quite enough money to buy a house. Or they think they don't have enough money to buy a house, which is even more dangerous because they don't try. It's not as complicated as people think, and it doesn't have to be as expensive as people think. So what we do is we sort of bridge that gap. And what I found myself constantly doing was going to affiliates that I work with and cutting my own commission and asking them to help out because we have this family and we want to get them to their first house. And every realtor listening to this has done this at one time or another, where it's just a client that you just love and you've gotten, to know them a little bit, and you don't want to be the reason they can't buy a house. And if it's only a couple $1,000 here or there, at the end of the day, luckily, real estate's pretty expensive around here. It's not that big a deal. And so you volunteer to help out. And I've done that so many times and frankly enjoyed it, as strange as that sounds. But I've enjoyed helping people get into houses. And so that's really where that came from. We've been doing it forever. So we just sort of turned it into a program years ago to just make it a little bit easier for people to access. So we literally give you money to buy a house.
Richard, tell me your favorite story of a family who you fell in love with and just had to, I know you probably have a bunch.
Well, my favorite is always the one I'm working with right now, or the ones that I'm working with right now. We have a couple in that right now. I'll give you a good. I'm going to see them later today. As a matter of fact, I've got one right now where they're buying a house, a young couple, first house. Have a 5-year-old son who's just adorable, and they came to me with credit problems and no money down, but they had good income. So at least we were 1 for 3, because typically you're looking at credit, money in the bank, and income. As far as those are the 3 biggies when buying a house for the economic end of it. And we've been working with them now for about 3-4 months, and we helped them fix their credit. So we did a few things with the help of our
How long
lenders
does that
and stuff.
usually take?
Depends on how much damage there is. In his case, it was fairly straightforward. He was just, a young guy who was making a good living, but just paid no attention to his credit.
Oh.
So he'd pay bills when he would kind of think about doing it, and he's not really alone in that. We see that a lot. So we had to help him sort some of that stuff out.
What is a good credit rating? What do you want to see when people come to you?
What I'd like to see above 700 as far as a FICO score is concerned. I think every lender would like that. But realistically, anything above 620, heck, even above 580, and you can make it happen. And there are a lot of things you can do to help out with a credit report. Pay this down, pay that down. Most lenders will have some sort of metric that they can run your credit report through that'll tell you, hey, if you do this, you get this many points. If you do this, you get that many points. It's not a guarantee, but it'll give you a really good feel for where you're at. And they can be improved. That's the other thing. A lot of people, when they go to buy a house, they convince themselves they can't do it, or if they think about buying a house, because my credit's not good enough. Well, it's fixable. It's not.
How long does
it
take?
Well, I'm sorry, that was your original question. Depends on what's there. If it's something simple, like in this case, we got it done in a couple of months. I think we're less than 90 days into credit stuff, and he's already fixed. So we're all good to go. And as far as their down payment was concerned, they used our assistance program and put together some money themselves and got some money from some relatives, and now we're there. So they're buying a house.
How much do they love you right now? How much?
Well, I am pretty popular. Well, they haven't closed escrow yet. We'll see. But I am pretty popular with them at the moment, I would assume.
I mean, that just sounds too good to be true, almost, Richard Szerman. But you're making dreams happen right here in the SCV.
If my biggest problem in business is that people think I'm too good to be true, I'll find a way to live with that. I don't think ask my wife. I don't think that's the consensus. But thank you.
Richard, tell us, for our listeners who are listening in the car right now and they don't have a piece of paper, they can't write something down, is there a website they can go to when they get where they're going?
Oh, sure. You can always find me through the station. That's always easy. Just the KHTS website, or you can certainly go to my website. It's richszerman.com. My last name's spelled a little funny. It's S as in sugar, Z as in zebra, Z instead of an H for no apparent reason. But it's richszerman.com. You can find us there. And I'm very, very, very easy to find.
Hometownstation.com. And just, by the way, just let me tell you this. Who wouldn't want, if you're thinking of buying a house and you need some help, you need some assistance, why wouldn't you want Richard? He's a funny guy and he knows his stuff. So I think we're hitting it out of the ballpark here, right?
I've been doing it for a while. Thank you.
And, just a fun and an upbeat kind of guy. And that's what you need. You don't want to get all depressed and it always seems like you're pushing people in the right direction and helping them along. So it can't be a depressing job at all.
No, it's fun. It's actually a lot of fun. Well, this family I was telling you about, they didn't think they could buy a house 6 months ago, and now they're buying one. So they're very excited about it.
And let me just tell you, he brings cookies here to the studio when he comes in.
I do.
So you never know when you're going to get a cookie.
That's true. Well, in fairness, there's a company in town that's spectacular called DW Cookies that they're good enough to let us buy their product a lot, and people love them. And, who doesn't, you show up with cookies, who doesn't like you?
It's just an extra bonus. It's an extra bonus. Richard Szerman, Alta Realty. One more time with the phone number.
661-714-1400.
You're the best only. Have a great weekend.
You too.